sight is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. La 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 la. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas with every Christmas card I write. All right, I think it's stable. Good evening. Welcome to the Christmas episode. It's the reason I put on this festive scarf. James. Wow, I look super gay today, James. He's going to make fun of me. I know James just came in here to make fun of me because he saw the poster. And he just came in here to be like, hey, you look super gay today. And then you're like singing Christmas songs. You have a bufanda that's all like red and like sensual and metrosexual. All right. There's my girl in there. Hi. Apparently she likes it. So, you know, it's actually kind of hot because I live in Mexico. So I'm here. Good to see you, James. Good to see you. All of you that stayed through. YouTube has been nuts lately with this streaming settings, like everything fritzes. I'm just like randomly changing stream servers and settings behind the scenes. And it just keeps dropping frames and all that kind of crap. And I have like 150 megabit upstream. I saw James Freeman the other day talking about how internet isn't just rated in downstream, it's rated in upstream. So I always go do a speed check. I have like 700 down and like 150 up. Wow, James. You know what? Some things I just can't respond to. But I'm here. I have a mug of Mexican ale. I drank most of it while trying to figure the stream out. We do have serious things to talk about, but I haven't done a live show for a while, and I apologize. If you follow my other channels, you've probably seen, like my photo channel, you've probably seen some of my other projects and products and all that kind of stuff. I just had to work my ass off to get through the Christmas season, and YouTube doesn't actually pay, and the algorithm, you know, doesn't love me very much lately. So I do what I can, you know. Sometimes I gotta put on that sensual scarf and look handsome if I want to bring in the big bucks. You know what I mean? So you can super chat a taco at any time. And I'm just wanted to shout out. I've wanted to go live so many times. I've posted a short or two in the past few weeks, and I'm gonna do a couple of distinct topics that I suppose are not really Christmassy, but kind of, because I see everyone behaving in such a non-Christmassy fashion. You guys throw in the chats. What do you want to talk about? Let James choose the topic, because he's been working his ass off this year too. But I'm listening to all of you guys, and I've actually been doing some testing on my other channel and gotten some stuff set up for combo streams where we can have two of us and kind of getting an efficient way to do that with my good cameras and everything. So maybe me and James will have to do a combo live stream here pretty soon. That sounds like kind of fun. Let me just look here, make sure everything's working. First, let me make sure everything's working. And I hope you guys appreciated the thumbnail that I made you. There was just straight up like Hallmark, right? It's like, oh my goodness, I'm so busy, I don't have time for love. I have to run my Fortune 500 company. Oh, but I have a daughter. Oh, well, I should take the next 2 weeks off, and we should go have a Christmas holiday. I mean, that's just like what this photo screams, you know. It's why we're here. It's why we're here. Drones. I'm gonna put markers in this. Maybe I'll do a few breakout videos. Let me see if I got that going. Make sure everything is just working here, okay? Talk about anything but Christmas. I think what's often forgotten is like Christmas should be like, we should actually be caring about each other. And mostly what I see is men worn out and stressed trying to find the money to keep women happy because women are always, they want to do events, they want to put stuff up, they want fancy gifts. I see selfishness. I see everybody, just instead of like their boss giving them a bonus because he cares about them, they have to have a bonus or they won't survive. I see mostly very non-Christmas-like behavior. It's not that I don't mind like, things being pretty. I'm a photographer. I'm an aesthetic kind of person, like lights. I like that kind of stuff. But the attitude of Christmas is actually one of the least festive to me. It's just very stressful. There's so many demands. I work in various businesses, and I work. You guys know that I do some work in charge of aesthetics and marketing and quality control in a cafe down here, and like this vibe that everybody has to keep up. And I see it, I've talked to you guys about how I kind of feel people's emotions a lot of times. And like, I look at the man and they just seem like worn out. Like, man, I hate this time of year. Everybody expecting more of me and we're barely getting by as it is. And I know that feeling. I can see it in their eyes and everybody just stressed. And that doesn't seem very Christmas-like, to be honest. And I think if Christmas has a real purpose. I mean, yes, Jesus, but most of the people saying Jesus, they act nothing like Jesus. You know how many people I see say Merry Christmas and Jesus this year? And to them, a Christmas present is Trump getting in office so he can deport and ruin the lives of poor immigrants. Do you realize how psychotic and antichrist that is? So I'm going to try not to go too much on a rant. The problem with Christmas isn't the Three Kings. It's not Santa. It's not having some kind of a warm festive event where we get together as a family. It's not the Christmas tree. It's not pagan roots. It's that you actually, I'm not speaking to anyone in particular in the chat, I'm speaking to all of us, don't give a rat's ass about your neighbor and you actually want to hurt other people to make yourself feel better. That's the real mindset of our world and our country right now. And maybe that's why Christmas feels like crap, right? Because no one is acting like Jesus. I don't have any problem if somebody wants a Christmas tree, somebody wants to do Santa Claus. All the people that are always carrying on about, the pagan roots, this is why we're going to hell, it's because of the pagan roots. These people invariably are the ones that are supporting Trump, that are abusing the immigrant, the widow, the weak, and the fatherless. And I'm sick of their crap. I want to see people care about each other. Again, I'm not trying to pick anybody on the chat. I want you guys to chat. I want you to throw your things out there because I'm just saying we suck. That's my Christmas message, I think, is we need to stop sucking so freaking much. Idolatry is voting for Donald Trump, not saying I'm going to hang up a wreath or put up a tree at Christmas. Idolatry is we need to vote red this year. Idolatry is my denomination knows God and theirs doesn't. Idolatry is using the Bible to excuse, using Christ, even worse, to excuse your absolute hate for your neighbor, for the poor, for your absolute hypocrisy. Again, I'm speaking generally here. I just see so much of this right now. And it's wild. The absolute dogma of people screaming the Christ and church and Bible, and they're nothing even remote. So if you're hung up on this person's doing paganry, this person does a tradition the way I don't like it, that's completely anti-biblical even to be hung up on that. Let each celebrate their holidays the way they want, right? Some people esteem one day over another. And we're supposed to be looking to love people. And all we're looking to do is tear people down. And I gotta say, it's disheartening. It's disheartening. I haven't seen an article on me, but iFiber loves to pick me up. I even used iFiber internet back when I lived there. And they still crap on me. It's what you get. It's what you get for paying $100 a month. Screw you, iFiber. You don't even have Mexican ale. You have to import that crap. But the people that you want to import it, you're also trying to deport. So yeah, enjoy Super Bowl without beer or avocados. Booyah. Thanks, Spicy. I do want to get the show going. That was my opening salvo, my Christmas message, if you will. And that's fine. I'm not trying to like dump on anyone's family festivities, care about each other, love each other, get together. If you want to give gifts, I'm not here to like make any dogma or make any doctrines. The doctrines are almost universally nonsense in Christendom. It's just people who don't want to face the reality of having to actually love their neighbor, which is what it means to be Christian. They don't want to do that, so they fight about doctrines. And I've seen it for so long, and I just don't even really participate anymore at all. I shouldn't say at all. Sometimes I have been known to argue sometimes. Okay, I've been known to have opinions. I understand that. But I'm doing what I can. Let's just try to love our neighbor here, all right? We only have, there's 26. Out of 300 million people, there's 26 people here that actually want to sit and talk about something important today. And for you 26, we're going to do that. First of all, I'm just trying to clean out the tabs and the junk. Let me just come over here. Look at my Facebook. Photo of me and my brothers back in the 90s. Oh wait, that's like the 40s, but mostly the same. Mostly the same. Just clearing out some of the junk so I can put this in, put a marker in. And yeah, you're on the Gavin Seim Show. We talk about everything here. But this drone thing, I did a short about this drone thing this week rather. And I did a 1-minute short that really summed it up. We don't need to make this part long. Everybody, I see there's always these themes, right? And I know that you guys that are paying attention, you see the themes. If the mainstream news media is picking it up for more than like half a day, it's a coordinated theme to try and distract you, right? If it's something that's like happens, like I've been on national mainstream news, I've been on the front page of Yahoo, I've been on Fox and all these things when I was doing things, activism that really caught attention. But I didn't stay there, right? So there was lots of blurbs about it and it went viral, as we say. But when the mainstream news is talking about something for a day on end, all over the mainstream news, and they keep coming back to it, what it means is it's a coordinated propaganda effort, and you can rely on that every time. They're trying to create a narrative or distract you from something else that's happening. Now, the irony, I've used drones for years, right? I remember in the early days of back when I was like running for Congress and all the patriots were paranoid about drones, and I'm like, dudes, what are you talking about? We should know how to use these things. They're super useful. Like, you know, and I remember going in at the Marble Liberty event, I think, and I flew a drone up and people were like getting nervous and uptight, and it was like, dudes, come on. Like, let's not be primitives here. Like, and not everybody was like that. I remember talking with the radio guys and stuff saying, hey, we could put an antenna up on these, we could make a repeater. Like, there was a lot of cool potential. This was the Phantom days where the drone was a lot bigger. You know, you could practically sit a kid on there and just fly it up. Good stuff. Back in the good old days. But this past week, all of a sudden I start seeing these articles on Facebook. I always know when there's a coordinated propaganda effort because, yes, it's going to be all over mainstream news and Drudge Report and CNN and Fox and all the sycophants of the government and the state. But I don't actually follow those. So the reason I know is because everybody's making posts about it that are like these vague, like, oh, the end is coming, drones are coming, Jesus, save us now. Which is good, but the drones aren't really the problem, although they certainly will use drones against us, and we should be making sure we know how to use them, and also to electronically. I see these videos of like police teams electronically disabling drones, and I'm like, you guys are idiots. We should take that from you and use it on your drones. Now, the crux, though, of my drone short, which you can watch here on the channel, is just this. don't be ridiculous. If drones are flying around random places, controlled airspaces, they're closing down air bases do you honestly in your right mind think they don't know exactly what is happening? All they're trying to do is create a distraction, to create fear, to create security concerns, possibly to hide something that they're doing at this very moment, and most definitely to create more fear and ignorance in the people so that they can then make more rules, probably drone rules, because we can't have these flying over military bases. It's a national security issue. It's a national security issue. And if we don't stop it, Muslim people might bring drones in and they'll terrorize us all. Okay, so you get it. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. I'm just watching the thumbnail of myself with my little scarf. I think I look cute. What do you think, James? You still on there? I think I look pretty sweet. Someone made this scarf for me, actually. It's pretty nice, but it's very Christmassy. I don't wear it all year round because... And yes, abstract, it's magicry. And honestly, it's not even good magicianry. Like, we're just really, really stupid to keep following for these games. When the government says something's happening, you should worry, they're lying. Things don't happen on a national level. They're in open spaces, and the government has no idea what's going on. It's absolute crap that the government, the police, we don't know where all the drones came from. Guys, drones are connected to controllers. These are radios. These people can track your cell signal and figure out where on the street you are. Do you think they can't figure out where a bunch of drones in the sky are from if it's like a reoccurring pattern? Come on. It's them doing it. 90%. It's the government or some agency of the government actually sending these drones up and creating this propaganda, and they will then later have someone that they pretend was doing it that was a terrorist or some shit. Mark my words, you'll see this come out. It'll be some kind of nonsense along those lines, and all of the Trump turds will be eating it up hook, line, and sinker and like, well, more rules, we gotta stop this because libtards are flying drones and they're going to destroy freedom and it's probably something to do with immigrants. Let's deport people and violate the Constitution even more, Daddy Trump. And they'll be sucking and he'll be smiling and everybody will be happy. Elon Musk will be there. It's gonna be cool. We're on a roll tonight, people. We're on a roll tonight. That's what I think about the drones. It's BS. It's BS. The real concern with drones is that government is going to have drones and armed drones, as they already do, and we're starting to see, and they're going to use incidents that they create with drones to create fear of drones, to take away drones from the common man, because they know that it's pretty easy to modify a drone to be a very useful tool in the revolt. Enough said. Next topic. Gavin, if you were president, how would you run the country? I don't even think it's probably worth asking that because no one even wanted the Constitution enough to even elect me for Congress. They want to deport immigrants. They want their socialism. We don't really have a Republican Party. And people have been, you know what, let's talk about this. Okay, let's talk about the whole, where's my, let me show you a Facebook post. Okay, this will be better. Let me go here. Go here. Let me go here. Go to my Facebook. I'm going to tell you a secret. Those of you that love abusing immigrants and things like having papers to live and thinking you need government's permission to travel are not going to like this segment, so you may want to pause. All right, you may want to pause. Exactly. If you didn't pay $50 in taxes, they know. But they don't know where the drones come from. I appreciate it, James. Hold on. Let me find what I was looking for. And don't get me wrong, like the U.S. is kings of this, but all governments are doing this all over the world. I see them doing it in Mexico, and they're so bad at it. The government worship is far less. Like anything the government posts, everybody just laughs at for the most part. But they still get away with it because people don't have the balls to resist. I'm gonna actually draw your attention to a couple posts I made over the last couple of weeks. One thing you may have noticed recently is that if you share, let me show you something here. I'm going to show you guys a trick, okay? Then we'll do the main part. I don't want to go on too long tonight, but I'm going to show you a pretty good trick, and this is a recent change on Facebook. So if you go to a post, if you're on a post, right? Let me switch to screen mode. James, you should know this one too. So here's a post of Tea Party patriots. They're not anything like the Tea Party, and they're not patriots. They are the socialists right now. I remember working with lots of Tea Party people back when I was running for Congress, and most of them were rhinos, but they still cared a little bit about freedom, but it's all given up now. Like, they're full on right-wing socialists. And by the way, I want to give you guys a huge thing. Like the police don't like being called blue ISIS. I coined that term like 6 years ago. I've started using the term right-wing socialists. Okay, you have the left. Everybody always calls me a leftist when I don't support Trump or whatever ridiculousness they're doing. So the left, they're like, the left are communists. The left isn't even really communist, even social. The left is like so far now that they're basically like Death Eaters, right? The left is like the Death Eaters. They're just like, I don't even know what they're doing. They're like cutting themselves. They're like, they're cutting other people. They want to burn things down. I mean, the left is like so far out there from the party standpoint. I know there's people that identify as left and I can relate to because we're all divided on party. I don't care about the faction. I'm just saying like left wing. Then we say right wing is for guns and Jesus and the Constitution. No, they're not. They're for guns because they think they're fun, but they don't have the balls to ever actually defend themselves. And they're not for the Constitution. The right absolutely hates the Constitution. Anytime I bring it up, and I'm going to prove it to you in just a second. I'm going to prove to you. We're going to talk a little bit about this immigration thing. I'm going to prove to you that the right detests the Constitution. They're not Republicans. They don't believe in the Republic. They don't believe in the Constitution. The right are right-wing socialists. Everything they do is surrounded by them feeling powerful and getting their way, which most parties do. I get that. Everybody wants that. I think my blue light went off. And secondly, to protect their socialism, their freebies, right? So all the rage that the government propaganda creates in like, oh, we got to deport immigrants, we got to stop people from coming here, it's all based around they might lose free stuff. That's why they're right-wing socialists. Okay, but let's come to the right-wing socialists like the Tea Party, which stopped being Tea Party or Patriots a long time ago, and became part of the right-wing socialist party. Now, they make this post, right? All these posts that are super excited. Oh, our idol got in. We're super cool. This is going to be so fun. Like, liberals are going to cry. Like, whatever. Okay? First of all, a tip. If you go to a post on Facebook, right? If you click a timestamp on Facebook, it will take you to that post. Okay? I don't know if this works on mobile. It definitely works on the desktop. It'll take you to the direct link of that post, right? Long and arduous. But the secret is you can do this on a comment as well. If you click on a comment on the timestamp here, where it says 2 days or 1 hour ago or wherever, it takes you to the exact link of that comment within the thousands of other comments. And in the past, you've seen me do this, where I could make a post on Facebook and share the link and it would take you to that comment. Now, and this just started happening, now if I take that and I share a comment and I put the link, right? I comment on a comment I made and I put the link to that comment, it shares the original post with my comment right underneath it, which is kind of cool because it's all in my post, but it's showing the whole context. Okay, but I just wanted to throw that in there. What I want to show you today, though, is what happens. First of all, I'm just going to slash down. I don't have to go around and around about the immigration issue because it's so unconstitutional and so ridiculous. The government is not permitted to restrict immigration in any fashion whatsoever. It's 100% unconstitutional. It always has been. The founding fathers were clear on it. The history is clear on it. They invented this as a way to control people, and when they really went hardcore with it is starting in the 80s with the drug war, Ronald Reagan, all that. 50 years ago, no one even cared about this. This is simply propaganda. They planted it in your head to make you freak out, psychopath, paranoid that immigrants are going to take your stuff. That's all they did. That's all they had to do. Our society, our country is that godless and selfish that all they had to do is just make it about it. And if you watch the themes, it's always coming back. Taking our jobs, taking our welfare, taking our jobs, taking our welfare, crime. It's always coming back to fear, and they're going to take our stuff. Okay? But let's come to the comment. Because what I've been doing, I'll come to posts like on the Daily Wire, these rags for the socialist right. And I'll come in here and if I see that they've made a post about some nonsense and I'm one of the first commenters, I'll leave a comment. If that comment then gets traction and a lot of people respond to it, because people hate it when you just tell simple truths. Like the right-wing socialists go absolutely psycho. They're always accusing the left of this, and I'm not a member of either side, but they really go crazy. So I don't have to really insult them. I just say something true and they go nuts. Then I'll come back when the post is getting traction and add to it and flesh it out a little bit and put some history and some facts in it. That way I'm not wasting my breath on Facebook, which is usually a waste of breath. Now, I just want to read you this because this sums up. I actually spent a fair amount of time on this once this post started getting attention to really cover this, okay? The socialist right is rewriting history. There is no such thing as illegal immigration. Certainly not for those who believe in God, freedom, or the Constitution. The founders were clear on this. But no one cares because we worship the state instead of God and we are ignorant of history. Never has the U.S. government had any lawful power over immigration. The idea that it's related to a sovereign border was invented. It was propaganda for the drug war that started in the 70s. People talk about the Naturalization Act, but it never gave any authority over immigration. Naturalization was only the rules for becoming a citizen. The founders and the original act were very clear on this after the first Congress. In fact, when the federal government in the 1798 Alien Act said people had to register, not a border patrol, not an entry point, they were said they had to register after they immigrated within like 60 days or something like that. The founders were outraged that they would ignore the Constitution so blatantly that it had just been ratified a few years before. And so in the topic of even registering as an immigrant, Jefferson stated vehemently that the act was, quote, void and without force, is what he said about these kind of acts. Now, even at that, there was no real immigration restrictions until after the Civil War, when even more of the Constitution was trashed. Today's so-called laws are violations of Article 1, Section 8, 4, as well as the 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, and 9th Amendments. The very idea of restricting or controlling immigration is to absolutely trash the Constitution of the United States. When it was written during the first Congress, the idea of restricting immigration was once made as a joke, immediately followed by, of course, we don't have that power. It was a joke. Yes, I went back to the transcripts of the first Congress so I too could quit being a stooge. The truth is that patriots today live in a state of defiance, not only against God, who directly commands the immigrant to be treated the same as a citizen in Deuteronomy, but they hate with a passion the Constitution itself and the restrictions it places on the government they worship because they want a socialist state, not a free one. A people who give up liberty for temporary security will have and deserve neither. And that is exactly what the United States and most of the world is receiving. See, it didn't matter that, yes, a lot of the founding fathers were flakes, a lot of them were a-holes. What mattered is the principle that all men were created equal. What matters is the idea that we have a constitution. It had nothing to do with being a citizen. When it was written, a U.S. citizen didn't exist. I can't even believe how often I hear this clueless debate like this is for citizens. It has nothing to do with citizens. And that the government very clearly in that Constitution and in our entire history and the whole point of us having a revolution in a free country was to protect the right to live and travel without permission. And so as I leave these comments and I respond with even the slightest bit of reason, history, and fact, I just want you to take one moment to look, and I'm going to read you some of the comments, of which there are hundreds on this post alone. If anyone comes in any way but through legal channels, then you are illegal. Illegal is to restrict those channels in the first place. That's an act of violence and a violation against the Constitution. Were you dropped on your head before you wrote this? We are a sovereign nation. We have borders for a reason. Literally just repeating propaganda that addresses absolutely none of what I said, the history or the Constitution. They need to send you with them. Sorry, John, already left. You need to recheck your information. How about that? Funny how I need to recheck their information when I validated my study of immigration history and the Constitution all the way back literally to the floor of the first Congress. None of you have. Has anyone else in here done that? I invite you to. You can go do it. Go prove me wrong. I've argued this with so many people that went around in circles. If people are coming here according to the oath they took, that's why Ellis Island was done the way it was done. Are these people doing it right? No. They don't have to. They don't need your permission to travel. No one needs your permission to immigrate. No one needs papers. If you think you need government permission to live, you're a psychopath. You're mentally broken and you don't love freedom. That's for sure. You're just controlled by propaganda. Everybody's using these repeated propaganda news words like the right way, security, national security, the border. All these things have no bearing on reality. They're simply words to trigger people. They're simply words. I could go on for ages. So we shouldn't follow the legal process for immigration, just full and open borders. What kind of country would that be? It would be the country that the United States was founded on, and that was that way up till about 50 years ago. It was 100% that way up till before the Civil War, and mostly that way up till about 50 years ago, although Ellis Island, having to come in through Ellis Island, was also completely unconstitutional. It was just not usually that abusive, and you weren't constantly denied and sent home where you would die because you were trying to escape a bad situation. So yes, only if you're a Democrat out to destroy the country or are mentally unstable. These people are mentally unstable, guys. If you speak the slightest facts or history, I'm not going on a libtard rant here. I literally just gave you history going back to the 1790s and the ratification of the Constitution that is 100% verifiable in fact. No one cares about facts anymore. No one cares about the Constitution. That's what's happening. You care about whether people have a Christmas tree because it's pagan. You care about drones flying around. You care about whether Islams are invading your country, whether Muslims are invading you. You care about everything that the government propaganda machine feeds you. And the only thing you don't care about is caring about other people and being free. Again, I know I'm speaking generally, but that's what I see in most of the world, honestly. This is mostly true in Mexico, but the United States are absolute kings. Never in the history of a world have we seen a people more arrogant, more armed. I shouldn't say the history of the world because I could be wrong about that. But the history of the world that I know, never have we seen a country more arrogant, armed, and always crowing about how tough they are and we got our guns and our freedom, and so absolutely castrated and ballless and inept, both in knowledge and their own ignorance and their complete inability to use those arms to defend liberty in even the slightest way. When the founding fathers revolted for a tenth of what our current government commits against us on a daily basis, what our current police and what our soldiers and what our politicians and what our Donald Trumps and our Joe Bidens and our George Bushes and our Obamas all are in together in the very same bed, screwing each other while they play us like puppets, and we are actually, as a nation, that stupid We can't even stop for a moment on Christmas and stop thinking about deporting people and money and that our people win and ha-ha to the people who lost, to actually stop and think, hey, I wonder if the people that I'm trying to ruin the lives of are actually just innocent, poor people trying to survive. And I wonder if Jesus thinks that's okay. That's my thoughts on the Christmas immigration debacle. And to top it all off, despite you saying that Trump was, with his force and intimidation, was going to stop Mexico, they were going to get them to close their borders, right? Well, no, that's not happening either. There's currently a caravan of 20,000 migrants going through Mexico. It's all over the news down here. The local politicians are supporting them. They have to. They don't have a choice. When you have 20,000 strong, you don't ask the government for permission. They ask you. And that is why we should always be 20,000 strong. Because what the U.S. needs is 20,000 immigrants to barrel through the border without your permission, without your papers, and slap aside immigration ICE asshole that tries to stop them. That is following the Constitution. And that's what they have a right to do. Because if you try and impede the travel, the rights, the life, and the liberty of anyone who is not directly violating the liberty of another, you're a criminal. And they have a right to treat you as such. Doesn't make me a leftist. It means I've actually studied history. Merry Christmas. Okay, that was our immigration segment for the day. Whew. Okay, it's tired. I'm tired now. Did I rant? I think I ranted. Sorry, I get into that because you know how many years I've been arguing this, and only a few people, the Tony Sheltons of the world, and the few people that I've gotten through to that actually give a rat's ass about the truth. It's wild. Legalized freedom said, should a terrorist be allowed to travel freely? A terrorist means nothing. Terrorist is a propaganda word invented by the government, which I know has meaning now in popular society, but the government that you support are terrorists. The police are terrorists. The FBI are terrorists. The US military are terrorists. IDF are terrorists. Who aren't terrorists is people that just want to feed their family. People that want to get in because they're trying to get away from something and into something else. People sneaking through your borders because you have psychopaths there that are going to hurt them and their family. People drowning in a river because you're so stupid, ignorant, and hateful against your fellow man. You're such a Satan worshiper. Again, I'm not speaking to you specifically, Legalize. I'm speaking to people that think this way. That you actually believe that you're so much better that you have the right to abuse other humans in that fashion and decide where they go. So no. Terrorist is allowed to travel freely because terrorist means nothing. I've been called a terrorist lots of time. Emmon Bundy is called a terrorist by the government. Normally when you're called a terrorist, it's a badge of honor because it means you're resisting actual criminals. That's usually what it means to be a terrorist. So let's not even go to the terrorist word. But until someone's been duly arrested with due process, a warrant, or convicted of an actual crime, you have no right to stop them. And if you try, you're a criminal. And they should treat you as such. But let's try and do it in the most peaceful way possible. All right? I appreciate it, James. At least you're like, one of the few. You guys, the few of you guys, most of you on here even get mad when I talk about this stuff. That's why I keep bringing it up. Because one day, those of you that even are still voting for Trump and you're still voting the Republican ticket and you're still thinking that a red swing is going to save us, eventually you're going to realize that I was right. That's why I try not to be angry that you're still ignorant. It's why I try not to I'll rant at you, I'll scold you, but I think if you're listening, you're eventually going to come around and realize that I was right. And when you do, you can send me a message. When you realize the police are terrorists, when it's your son in jail, when it's your friend that they just shot down on the street, when the politician you voted for is screwing over you, taking your house, sending police to steal your stuff, most of you it's going to take till you lose most or something big or everything, until you realize that the state that you've been worshiping was your enemy all along. The politicians, the Donald Trumps, the George Bushes, they were the enemies of your freedoms and your Constitution, which, by the way, grants you no rights. You don't need this for your rights. It's just a reminder. So I use it when I'm speaking on legal matters. I understand and use the constitutions of whatever country I'm speaking of, whether it's the Constitution of Republica de Mexico or the United States. I use the Constitution, but you have to understand that it grants you no rights. I appreciate you, James. You're one of the standout guys setting an example. There's a lot of people doing good work because of James sticking his neck out there too. We have a lot of people making great content. Unfortunately, most people are still ignorant to that. I think we covered it today. Is there anything else that I should talk about? Because it's late. I need to go. I got to go take care of a few other things. It's like 11:30. I really need to go. Okay? I didn't mean for the rants to go on quite so long. Legalize, I appreciate you being here. I know there's a lot of people at Midpoint. I've learned I can rant at people, but I don't let the sun go down upon my wrath, as we say, as God told us to do. If I'm frustrated and angry with somebody and they come back later and want to talk, I'm going to talk to them. I'm not going to be like, oh, you're a right-tard, you're a left-tard, you're a lib. These are all just hateful things that are meant to keep us divided against each other. So even when I'm vehemently scolding someone, the next day I can sit down and have a conversation with them and try to reason with them, because most of us, all of us, I think, believed in this lie of the USA is great, the USA is freedom, the borders protect us. And as always I say, we have to have a sovereign border. That has nothing to do. Sovereign border has nothing to do with immigration. Immigration restrictions came in the past 50 years for the most part. Like traveling from Mexico to the United States. It didn't even used to be a thing. Like you walked across. You ever see a John Wayne movie, guys? I mean, I'm serious. Like, have you ever watched an old Western where they're crossing the Mexican border and there's a border patrol? That was from like the 40s and 50s. Like this was not a thing. This was not part of the propaganda. This was not like how people thought. This may have been technically when these stations and stuff started being set up, but there was no real restrictions, like extreme restrictions where, you know, yeah, they were violating the Constitution, but you could still get in. You might have had to fill out some forms, but they were still going to let you in. Most people, do you know that in Mexico, most people go and they try and get a visa. They try and do it the right way, as you say. They have to pay like $500 to the U.S. consulate, which is like 10,000 pesos. For a normal working class person, that's like a month's wages they have to pay to the U.S. consulate. Most of them get denied, and they don't get the money back. The consulate takes the money and then says, no, we don't think we want you to go up there. The USA is literally terrorist scammers, you guys. That's the government you vote for. Anytime you talk about walls, border patrols, police, soldiers, that's what you support. You know, you talk about Indian call centers, they're nothing compared to the scam that is the United States. We are the biggest terrorist scammer nation on the face of the earth, and probably in all of history. And it makes me sad, because there's a lot I do love about my country, and I want it to be free. But that's the truth. We're terrorists. I'm not. I hope you're not. But the United States is a terrorist state. We terrorize, rob, abuse, manipulate, and lie entire countries and the whole world. We murder hundreds of thousands of people across the world. And we create narratives that steal the freedoms of hundreds of millions as the world follows in our example. It's wild. All right, you guys, I'm going to let you go for now. I know it's been a while. I think we hit on a couple good topics. I hope that regardless of how dark this world is, let me put on the scarf for this, because hey, oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And as long as you deported him. Oh, sorry, no, I'm not Donald Trump. Sorry. All right. Just go out and care about somebody. Screw all this Christmas. If you want a tree, have a tree. If you want a Christmas party, have a Christmas party. If you want a potluck, have a potluck. If you want to be a Grinch, be a Grinch. But care about someone. Stop hating people. Even the people that have wronged you. Let me see if I can find a saying. It's somewhere around here. Well, let me just paraphrase. Now my brain is flashed. I just had a memory wipe on the brain. It happens. It happens. It's the scarf. When I put the magic scarf on, I'm downloading memories into the scarf to be archived, right? But sometimes then they kind of flash out. You gotta be like on your feet, like come up with reasons. This is how politicians do it. They just make up crap as they go. It's the scarf. It's because of the scarf. But in closing today, don't hate people. Don't even avoid them. Go out of your way to get in their way. Tell them the truth, but also be kind. I can even be kind to a cop even, right? I can on the one hand go and tell a cop he's a dirty, filthy cockroach. But if his car breaks down on the side of the road, I'm still going to get out and help him push it. And if he's stuck in the snow, I'm still going to give him a ride. And if he's cold, I'm still going to give him a cup of coffee. But I'm also going to tell him he needs to stop being a criminal. Does that make sense? Just remember that as the years pass, you're not going to regret the times that you let it go and forgave. And you're not going to regret the times that you asked people to forgive you. You're only going to regret the times you didn't. All right. Taking the Hallmark scarf off. It's on. All right, you guys, peace. Merry Christmas. Have a good night. Spread the word. Spread this. Go educate some people. And you're welcome to go to my page, by the way, and copy that post. You can give me credit if you want. But there's a lot of history in that post on immigration. Not one of these people have been able to respond to it factually. All they do is rage at me. But show a little love tonight. Take care.